Yeah,
I
definitely.
remember reading William Owen Thompson talk about Fantasia as if it were like his first, as a child, his first psychedelic experience. The music and the animation together really reorganized his perception, activated his imagination, and kind of maybe
Awesome.
catapulted him into
What book is
the
that in?
career that he, the amazing career that he had. It's either it could be at the edge of history, or no, it's probably in the time falling bodies take to light.
Awesome. I
I
haven't
haven't
fully
read that
finished
Yeah.
that
one.
one yet.
Oh, it's amazing. It's, I mean, I think Thompson himself compares it to Wilbur's book, Sex, Ecology, and Spirituality. Like that's in writing the time falling bodies take to light. Thompson was trying to account for the same way that um, Wilbur was talking about masculinity and femininity and science and spirituality, and trying to show how they weave together. Um, Thompson's book is like 250, 300 pages, and I think says way more in a way more imaginative way than what Wilbur was able to say in 1,000 pages or whatever.
You know,
Mm.
it's kind of funny. I've I've been reading Coming Into Being, almost done with it, and my thought was, this is the perfect answer, or really supplement to Brief History of Everything, because he really does
Mm-hmm.
cover more in this book than I got from Wilbur in Brief History of Everything. Um,
Yeah,
there's just so much in, like, one chapter about patriarchy, the divine feminine, all that stuff. It's all in there, and it's very. I don't know. I just didn't get any of that from Wilbur. Nothing lasted except for the whole.
mm-hmm.
Uh, what did he say? What was there Aquil? Is that when he introduced Aquil during Brief History, or around that
I think
time?
that's the first.
Something like that.
Or when he wrote Sex, Ecology, and Spirituality, I think that was probably.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. But I think
Yeah,
what's
I
lacking
follow.
in Wilbur is imagination. That's basically
Yeah.
that's what Thompson adds, and that's what Steiner has too.
hmm
I think his clairvoyance really I think is his ability to nation both to in his observation of nature. He would talk about an etheric body, which is what makes matter a lot,
hmm
and we
Yeah.
can't see it with our normal senses. But when we activate the imagination, it basically produces an organ of perception that allows us to see into living matter, so that we can understand the forms and ideas that are at work there. So his clairvoyant capacity was basically just hyperactive imagination. Um, and
Yeah,
then the sort
Barfield.
of rationalism that Wilbur's trying to develop, I think that's the future, is imagination, not more intelligence. We've got
Right.
plenty of intelligence.
Yeah. There's enough of that. We need to counterbalance.
Barfield uses a really interesting example from Steiner's. He says that Steiner is like a perfect example of final participation, and he mentions the fact that Steiner was able to see the precancerous condition of blood not detectable by his symptoms,
It's
which ties
interesting.
directly into what you're saying.
Right.
It's that clairvoyant third eye vision, single eye vision, uh, is able to be metaphysical in that sense before the physical world entirely, transcendent to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. I really like Barfield. I was doing some reading on him. There's so many tie-ins with, like, not exact fits, but definitely overlaps between him and Jung and Steiner
Mm-hmm.
and Gebser. Especially the whole final participation and original participation. I thought of ever-present origin. Like leaving it and returning
Right.
to it, and those sort of
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think
things.
the parallels between him and Gebser are enormous. I mean, I don't know if they knew each other, or knew each
Right.
other's work, but they're
Yeah.
pretty much spot on. Final participation and integral structure, Gebser's deficient mental structure, and Barfield's what is it, beta thinking.
Yeah.
Mm.
Alpha thinking and beta thinking. Yeah. I don't think Barfield and Gebser, or I don't think Barfield was aware of Gebser, because Gebser wasn't translated into English until like 84 or 85.
Okay.
I don't think Barfield read German. Maybe he did. Um, but maybe we should unpack what alpha thinking is, what beta thinking is, and what.
Yeah, I think that's one of the importance of these conversations is that we have to make it
accessible.
accessible to the general person. We can't just like utilize all these memes or these concepts. And,
the Professor's Club, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. So
that's one of the things Barfield criticizes in the book. Actually, is like the way our scientific or philosophical language has become so over specialized and privatized that they end up, intelligent minds end up being unable to communicate with one another because every mind speaks its own language and no one else can understand what is being known by that one mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so we definitely need to make the language accessible and inclusive. So we got to unpack alpha and beta thinking for sure.
All right, I'll leave that to you, Matt. And then I want to talk about the paradox. I want to talk about the paradox of Gebser and Barfield speaking on the evolution of consciousness, but talking about how consciousness can also devolve from, for example, from alpha to beta, or from the mental structure to the deficient mental structure in Gebser's work. So go for it, man.
Right. Well, I mean, the evolution of consciousness evolution makes it seem like it's always progress. But I think Barfield and Gebser both recognize that it's also regressive from origin, which would that is spirit or the sort of temporal
source.
eternity. Yeah, and that's what we always already are, but there's also this process of self-development and self-recognition of origin or spirit coming to know itself in time. And there seems to be a sort of logical pattern that unfolds through human history. And I think for Barfield and Gebser, there's kind of this assumption that the human being, when we evolve out of the rest of cosmic evolution, something different has appeared on the scene. And so it's, you could say it's a little anthropocentric, but the reason I take Gebser and Barfield seriously is because I don't think we have a choice but to have an anthropocentric understanding of the universe. Because first of all, we live in a universe that created us, and also just we are only able to observe it and study it from our own perspective. So obviously, when we're talking about the evolution of the universe, we're always already talking about the evolution of the human being.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And the human being is the only one that can know the divine source directly.
Right.
And at various qualitative stages of that.
Right. And the qualitative stages, like in Barfield's terms, there's alpha and beta thinking, as we were talking about. But before either one of these, we have the sort of instinctual experience of nature. And, before human beings became self-conscious, they were sort of immersed in the natural rhythms of the world around them. And there was an order to this rhythm. And so, you could almost say that it was nature, maybe the motions of the planets that we started to observe, that taught us how to think. And thinking is alpha thinking. The first kind of thinking, when we start to realize that, oh, wait, I can keep track of the motions of the planets through the sky and predict the future based on the patterns I've found in the past. And so for the first time, the human being begins to separate themselves from the natural world around them and can actually think about it. And so all of a sudden you start to have this sense of alienation of consciousness from nature, and it's both an evolution and a devolution, right?